Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Zhan Wuxuang felt both happy and melancholy at the same time. I am happy because Zian has made such rapid progress. What seems to be a bottleneck in cultivation for other people is here with Zian. It's like it doesn't exist at all. Even the girls of the brilliant fleet who followed Zian. It's as if the bottleneck doesn't exist. She felt very confused. What is the reason that allows the girls of the brilliant fleet to break through as quickly and without bottlenecks as Zian? Sad, because TMs. It's not like she never thought that one day she would be able to fight alongside Zian. With Zian's breakthrough speed, it was only a matter of time before she caught up with her or even surpassed her. But I never thought that this day would come so quickly. It was so fast that she was caught off guard. Looking at Zian, who was already at the battleship level. Looking at the vice principal of the inner courtyard, who fought with Zian out of curiosity, and then was brutally beaten and silenced. Zhan Wuxuang, as well as his husband, Vice Principal Zhang, and Vice Dean of the Evolution Department, Li Taoxin, they all also fell silent. Yes. Tyrannical. Really press it to the ground and rub it. A dignified high-level deep spaceship captain. Vice President of the Inner Court. He led the inner courtyard of Shenzhou Academy and participated in countless wars. Star Wars strength and experience far exceed that of ordinary people. But just now, Zian, who had just broken through to the battleship a few days ago, was knocked to the ground with a blaster. The battle is over. The Brilliance suffered only 27% damage. Vice President, the starship has been damaged to 80%. Zhan Wuxuang can't guarantee that he can defeat the Vice President 100%. That is to say, although Zian's level is not as high as hers. However, her true combat power has already surpassed hers, right? This made Zhan Wuxuang really feel melancholy. Perhaps the only thing that comforted her was she has now evolved to the Star Destroyer level and has reached the final stage of preparation. It won't take long before we can break through to the Star Destroyer captain. The power of the Star Destroyer cannot be compared to deep space aviation. No matter the size or all aspects. Star Destroyer. It is initially possible to use antimatter weapons. That is a truly high-end weapon system in the universe. The Star Destroyer is a huge leap in combat effectiveness. The immortal ship is a huge leap in the level of life. Actually, what Zhan Wuxuang didn't know was Zian did not use the multi-dimensional space starship overlapping capability. This resulted in the damage to the Brilliance exceeding 2%. What if the multi-dimensional space starship overlapping capability is used? Let's put it this way. This Vice Principal. There will be no way to fight back. If you weren't worried that you would fight too fiercely and someone else would be killed if you couldn't control yourself. In fact, Zian had already been defeated by others. The other party's attack would not cause more than 5% damage to the Brilliance. The degree of damage is even less than 1%, and even if it is intact, it can kill the opponent. Otherwise, why is it called a peerless genius? Around those students looked at Zian as if they were seeing gods. Including classmates like Yu Xiao. Think about it, I actually had a fight with Zian back then. This is what they are most proud of. As for the current competitive spirit? Stop it. Same session, they are still just assault ship captains. When you graduate, you may not be able to break through to the level of cruiser captain. After all, he is only a top genius, not even an ordinary monster can reach it. Haitang was originally a genius at the level of an ordinary monster, but he graduated with the strength of a cruiser captain. Yu Xiao and the others have good talents, but that's all. It's amazing that the destroyer captain is graduating. This is also the common graduation grade standard for students in special recruitment camps. There are even inferior students who graduated as assault ship captains. Can we look at Zian again? Damn battleship captain. A battleship captain who can beat up a deep space ship captain? Competitive spirit? F***K, come on. With this breakthrough speed, it's time to graduate as a deep spaceship captain. It's even possible that a Star Destroyer captain could graduate. Of course, just think about it. Star Destroyer, it's definitely not possible. In the inner courtyard, there is an office specially built for the Vice President, Zian. Although the Vice Principal Zian is coming. But since the school has given this Vice Principal, all facilities, equipment, and treatment must be kept up. Don't look at Gu Qingzhan's reluctance. I don't know how happy I am that Zian will serve as the Vice Principal. How much reputation will Zian bring to China University as the Vice President? Don't say anything else. But this year's freshmen have won all the geniuses in this class. Yes. B. All the geniuses who filled out the application forms are from Chinese universities. Because there are too many people, Shenzhou Academy has set its admission standards at the top 10. Even so, there are still a large number of new students joining, including new students from outside the Earth Federation. Hashtag. There are even several geniuses at the level of ordinary demons. Let's talk about the benefits. Let alone Zian as the vice principal, Gu Qingzhan would be quite happy to let him be the second principal. In an extremely luxurious office, Zian and his group were discussing the next plan. Since I became the vice principal, Zian will also perform his duties as vice principal. In any case, Zian would never admit it because of the large number of points that Gu Qingzhan paid him. Never admit it. I, Zian, am not the kind of person who is blind to money. The battle plan this time is very simple. It was Zian who took students from Shenzhou Academy to fight with students from a certain school of the Inhumans. This kind of fight is the same as Zian's previous fight with Tian Mantis in the B-level battlefield. Non-school students are prohibited from participating. On the battlefield, there is far more than just the Shenzhou Academy. There are even many schools among the three ethnic groups. There is no outer courtyard or inner courtyard, only one college. This academy was built on the battlefield. Specialize in fighting with enemy school students. For example, the #1 academy in Jiuxiao Xinghai, Jiuxiao Academy, which can be called a concentration camp for evildoers, was established on this sea-level battlefield. I don't know if it's because of Zian. During this period, students from two equally top colleges, the Inhumans and the Insects, made crazy moves against Jiuxiao Academy, but did not take action against each other. As a result, the students of Jiuxiao Academy have suffered heavy losses during this period. Then the principal of his college suddenly thought of Zian. Suddenly it occurred to me. Zian can also participate in this kind of war between students. Because he is still a student. Thinking of this, the principal immediately thought of an idea that could take revenge and even inflict evil on them. Please take action, Zian. Zian is here. The so-called genius students of the Inhumans and Insects are wheat, which Zian can harvest at will. So he approached Gu Qingzhan, the master of the Shenzhou Academy, who had a good jiao, and expressed his willingness to pay a large price to ask Zian to lead the students of the Shenzhou Academy to fight. Gu Qingzhan found Zian again. Then he told Zian about the offer and converted it into school points year on year. Zian was worried about what kind of tasks he should find. The energy came instantly. After bargaining, Gu Qingzhan increased his remuneration by another 50% on the original basis. Zian finally agreed reluctantly. A righteous and awe-inspiring expression, as the vice principal of China University, leading the students to fight monsters together is his duty as the vice principal. Hearing this, Gu Qingzhan wanted to rush over and give Zian a beating. I have never seen such a shameless person. Then. This is the scene now. After final discussion, an action plan was decided. Action. It will unfold in 3 days. Zian personally led the team to participate. As a viable force, with the cooperation of Jiuxiao Academy. Bringing together genius students from the Inhumans and Bugs. Swallow it in one gulp. Leave no one behind. Plan name. Follow Brother Su to fight monsters. The night sky here. Deep as an abyss. Looking up, you can see several huge planets suspended in the sky, and you can also see fleets of starships or spaceships passing by like meteor swarms from time to time. In the inner courtyard of Shenzhou University, the most luxurious super-large villa was specially arranged for Su Zian. Su Zian was leaning on the bed, holding a glass of wine in his hand, drinking and looking up at the distinctive starry sky. Today, he was rarely leisurely. Think carefully. Since he became a biological captain, it seems that I am growing intensely every day. Only once or twice have I been so leisurely and relaxed. He will also be tired. Especially in the past few years, various simulations have been carried out almost every day. Then after the simulation is over, it will be consolidated and learned in reality. Even if it is just a machine, it should take a rest. Now. The breakthrough reached the battleship captain. Fight against the powerful emperor. Life has been so long that there is no problem living for tens of millions of years. Deep spaceships have a lifespan of hundreds of millions of years, and star destroyers have a lifespan of 1 billion years. Such a long life has never stopped like a perpetual motion machine, let alone relaxed. Su Zian decided to treat his time on the battlefield as his leisure time. After all, now in this sea-level battlefield, there are only so many things that really threaten him. Captains of the immortal ship, the void ship, and the Zerg and Inhuman starship captains. Basically, just be a little more careful 607 yourself. Sea-level battlefield, completely sideways. Treat this place as your own resort. There seems to be no problem. Looking at the skylight above my head, drinking a glass of wine, and blowing the gentle breeze carrying the fragrance of flowers outside the window, this feeling is really refreshing. Unknowingly, Su Zian gradually fell asleep. But in this half-dream and half-awake state, his ears suddenly moved and he looked towards the door. Almost the next second, the doorbell was pressed. Haitang's virtual projection appeared in front of her. Haitang seemed to know that Su Zian was looking at her. She raised the bottle in her hand. He even had a bottle of wine in his hand. It was obvious that he came here to have a drink with Su Zian. Su Zian smiled. Immediately wave your hand and the door will open automatically. I knew you weren't sleeping. Haitang, who was extremely tall, walked in on the catwalk, smelling a fragrant breeze. Her naturally curly wavy hair has not yet dried, and she is dressed more casually. But even so, it is still difficult to conceal its peerless elegance. Let's have a drink together? Haitang shook the wine bottle held in her slender white hands, her voice cold and slightly hoarse. Su Zian smiled, nodded and said, I happen to be drinking. Drinking alone is boring. As he spoke, he drank all the wine in his glass in one gulp, and then extended his glass to Haitang. Haitang opened the wine bottle very neatly, and poured the golden and clear wine into Su Zian's cup. Cosmic interstellar age, same as chili. Naturally, the wine given to the biological captains cannot be ordinary. Ordinary alcohol cannot make powerful biological captains tipsy or even drunk. Liquor in this era is brewed by adding various high-end materials, and even by adding natural materials and earthly treasures. The alcohol in the wine brewed in this way has the same taste as wine, or even better. The biggest difference is that the alcohol inside can make the biological captain tipsy or drunk. Of course, the price is not within the reach of ordinary people. Just such a bottle of wine, because it is brewed with natural materials and earthly treasures, the price of a bottle of wine is as high as 1.88 million cosmic coins. But this little money is nothing to the battleship captain. After pouring the wine for Su Zian, he also poured a glass for himself. Haitang was very polite and did not shy away from it. She climbed directly onto Su Zian's bed and sat down next to Su Zian. Su Zian was startled and turned to look at her. But he saw that Haitang's expression was the same, still so calm. Su Zian just smiled softly, said nothing, and clinked a glass with Haitang. The two of them were silent, drinking while looking up at the night outside the sky window, looking at the rotating, beautiful stars. Planet, looking at the starships and spaceships, passing by quickly. No one spoke again. I don't know how long it took. Just when Zian was a little drunk, Haitang finally spoke. When I first met you, I thought you were just an ordinary boy. Haitang didn't look at Zian, and just kept talking to herself, but after listening to Fuyue's story about your experience of saving her, I felt that you seemed to be a genius, and I paid a lot of attention to you. But until that time, I still thought that you were just a genius with some talent, or at most a top genius. However, your performance in the special recruitment examination far exceeded my expectations. From that time on, I paid serious attention to you. After this, I will pay attention to everything you do. And you shock me again and again. And I don't know since when, I fell in love with you. When Haitang said this, his tone suddenly stopped. Gently turning her flawless and pretty face, her beautiful eyes looked directly at Zian, without any hesitation, directly, calmly, and generously. Zian was shocked, but still didn't speak. Really? Haitang's red lips opened slightly, her breath was like orchid, with a faint aroma of wine, and she continued, perhaps it was the moment when you were fearless, passed the special recruitment examination, and died together with the traitors of the human race on the assault ship. Perhaps it was also the moment when your starship was blown up and you survived by luck, but you were not discouraged at all and stood up again. Maybe it was the moment when you won the first place in the college entrance examination with unparalleled performance. I can't tell you exactly when I fell in love with you. But I'm sure of one thing, that's when you asked me to protect you on a mission. During the process, you used your keenness and wisdom to gain insight into the insect race and human traitors. Then with supreme courage, as well as the determination of a human race to have no hesitation, he took great risks to track the bug human race, so that their conspiracy was completely exposed. I'm in love with you. Since then, just as you stepped forward without hesitation, I have fallen in love with you without hesitation. And after that, everything you did, the rebellion of the Ghanaian race. Invade the hinterland of the Inhumans. Winning the Earth Federation Young Evolver competition. Lead China University to win first place. Chasing Luyun Divine Cult. Including killing Barbarous Lu in the training camp. Including destroying the insectoid headquarters this time. Everything makes me sink deeper and deeper. At the beginning, I would be worried and confused about how to deal with the relationship with you and Fuyue. But after this incident, I know. No matter how many worries and entanglements I have in my heart, I can't deny that I've fallen deeply in love with you and can't help myself, this time. You even evolved my siren for me, and it evolved into the most perfect one in my mind. Even the interior decoration is just as you promised me, the decoration is very much in line with my wishes. You put your heart into it. Now that I see your heart, my own heart can no longer be hidden. Then, tonight, I am coming. Speaking of which, Haitang didn't say another word. In beautiful eyes. No more indifference. All indifference. Everything turned into endless tenderness, tenderness like water, tenderness that only Zian was lucky enough to see, and only belonged to her and him. Smile. The beauty of the moment. It seemed to suppress the stars in the sky and the bright and shining starships and spaceships that passed by. The beautiful smile amazed this moment. I know you can't have only one beautiful moon in your life. I figured it out too. Now, I'll deliver it all to you. What, are you still hesitating about? Haitang seemed drunk, but also seemed extremely sober. But it doesn't matter if she is drunk or not. This moment. Zian's heart. Intoxicated, until 3 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. The two of them came out of the room. Zian was in high spirits, with a smile on his face. After the iceberg melts. Just like the clear ocean. Begonia is the sea monster that melted out of the iceberg and swam into the clear ocean after the iceberg melted. In this world, Only Zian can see and feel the sea monster unsealed from the iceberg. Seriously. That's called thoroughness. And begonia. At this moment. Once again, it has returned to its original coldness and coldness. The two of them acted as if nothing had happened. Come to the living room. I found that all the girls were already there. Just the atmosphere. It seems very strange. The two girls, Hu Chi-Chi and Miao Xiaomi, had serious faces. Bai Xiaoyuan looked aggrieved. The two girls, Taimei and Taj, shrank their heads, and their huge and burly bodies shrank into a small ball, huddled in the corner. Dare not speak, dare not make a sound, and tremble. Qin Fuyue pouted her mouth, but said nothing. Seeing Zian come out, he hummed and walked over, aggrieved but still holding Haitong's arm affectionately, and glared at Zian with big eyes. Zian ignored her directly. He has a clear conscience. Why, you ask? Simple. I, Zian, was forced. Have I ever taken the initiative? No. Then I have a clear conscience. Hu Chi-Chi and Miao Xiaomi looked at each other. Then they suddenly nodded to each other, as if they had made some important decision. Then it felt like it wasn't enough. Suddenly, they all looked at Bai Xiaoyuan, who looked a little aggrieved, but was still so cute and sensible. Bai Xiaoyuan's delicate body suddenly shook, and she was horrified. There was a hint of emotion in his expression. He looked at Qin Fuyue and Haitang. Then he looked at Hu Chi-Chi and Miao Xiaomi. Her beautiful and flawless face was full of tangles. The atmosphere is weird. But in the end nothing happened. As usual. After eating, we went to practice separately. This time, no one went to find Zian secretly. Because in 3 hours, the plan will officially begin. On the battlefield. The war between geniuses and academy students. It is very common to ask other people for help. As long as the other party is a genius student, as long as he is not too old, or as long as he is a student, then it's not outside the rules. So Zian led the brilliant fleet to help. It's also completely possible. Although he also holds the title of Vice President of China University. But age is here. Besides, he is still a student. And it's only my junior year. Then Zian came over to help Jiuxiao Academy. What's the problem? There is no problem. Including the two daughters Haitang and Taj. Although they are no longer students. But not very old. None crossed the line. Then there is no problem at all in participating. 3 hours later. The students who participated in the support from Shenzhou University set off together under the leadership of Zian. Also setting off together were Gu Qingzhan, the first elite team, Zhan Wushuang, and the vice principal of the inner courtyard, who came here specially. They will specialize in intercepting the enemy's strong men. Likewise, General Mu is also included. Although I can't see where General Mu is. But everyone is very clear. Zian's terrifying talent and his outstanding contribution to the human race this time. General Mu had no reason not to protect Su Ling at all times. In a normal battle, he would never take action. Even if Zian was to be killed by a strong person of the same level, or 1 or 2 levels higher, he would not take action. Rules are rules. As long as he, the powerful person who commanded and intercepted the void ship, could not carry out a dimensionality reduction attack on Zian. The remaining, Zian takes care of everything by himself. If everything must be protected, then what is the point of coming to the battlefield? It's better to go and stay in the human race's rear area. Why are you running to the battlefield to cause trouble? Although there were tens of thousands of people involved in the big operation of Shenzhou University. But a large-scale operation of tens of thousands of people, for the interstellar battlefield, is no less than a battle of millions of people, the mobilization of a small team of only a few people. It won't attract much attention at all, and Zian, and the brilliant fleet. Because they were all disguised, no one noticed that the brilliant fleet was among them. In fact, because of the power of the brilliant fleet. It goes far beyond a school student. In addition, Zian rarely showed up in Shenzhou Academy. The reputation of Shenzhou Academy was only in the Earth Federation, and at most it was a little famous in the surrounding areas. Before Zian really became famous, it was the start of the training camp. So that many people, including the insects and inhumans, know that Zian is a student at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. But I automatically ignored it. Zian would go back to school or something. He even takes these classmates to fights. After all, how could a battleship captain of the peerless genius level still be mixed up with a group of assault ships, most cruisers, and even a group of frigate captains? Therefore, for this time Zian led the Shenzhou Academy to fight. That was something I never even thought about. The other side. OC 2334 War Zone. The OC 2334 theater is a battlefield with fierce fighting in the C72743 battlefield. The intensity of the battle, the number of battles that take place every day, and the number of strong players are all slightly higher than those on the TCP-9B battlefield. Jiuxiao Academy is here. C72743 battlefield is one of the many sea-level battlefields in Jiuxiao Xinghai. Jiuxiao Star Sea, as one of the 108 star seas of the Universal Human Federation, has many battlefields of different levels within its scope. Jiuxiao College is the #1 college in Jiuxiao Xinghai, asking for flowers. The talent and combat effectiveness of its students cannot be underestimated. It can also be tied with Jiuxiao Academy. You have been here and there for countless years. The Academy of Inhumans and Insects in the OC 2334 War Zone is naturally not bad. They are all ranked #1 colleges in their respective Xinghai. Only in this way can we compete with Jiuxiao Academy. But it's probably because of Zian and the brilliant fleet. The insects hated Zian deeply. If you can't beat Zian, then take your anger out on Jiuxiao Academy. The Inhumans are very afraid of Zian, and at the same time they are very happy to see the cosmic humans and the insects fighting each other. Coupled with what happened to the Ghana tribe in the past, their alien hinterland also suffered certain losses. Naturally, he is very willing to temporarily work with the insects to suppress the human geniuses. Then there was the same model as before, the geniuses of Jiuxiao Academy, who expressed a little discomfort. Then he was so angry that he shook Zian directly, but what I don't know is the insects and inhumans. In fact, it also swayed people. It wasn't because they discovered Zian's plan. Everyone involved in this plan is absolutely innocent. There is no possibility of any leakage. The reason also shook people. That is because can't beat Zian. Can't you beat the other geniuses of the human race in your universe? Aren't you, Zian, awesome? Then we will kill all the strongest geniuses in this generation of the human race in your universe, Jiuxiao Xinghai. Kill them all, and there are a lot of people shaking people. The Inhumans have brought forth the most outstanding genius of their generation, ranked 287th. As well as the Tianjiao fleet led by his subordinates. A fleet ranked 782 on the list of the prodigy fleets of the universe. In fact, no matter which ethnic group, the number of unparalleled geniuses is small. Within every star sea, there will be a few peerless geniuses. Naturally, there are no shortage of Inhumans. The reason why he came here is very simple. I want to see who Zian is. By the way, see if you can kill Zian. Gain fame and fortune. So I came to the C72743 battlefield, and then I received the invitation, so I came. He was also very happy to kill the strongest group of geniuses in the 9 heavens star sea of the human race. The insectoids are even more outrageous. There is no such thing as a genius. Because Babarusulu's brother, Babarusulu, is currently participating in special training and has no time to come over. In their star sea, there are only a few peerless geniuses. Apart from Babalutru, the remaining 2, Barbarous Lu and Nanjia, killed by Su, there exists. There is no peerless genius, but all the geniuses from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th colleges of their Shanghai Academy are here. The purpose is simple. The geniuses of Jiuxiao Academy. Kill them all. Leave no one behind. Revenge. Start from Jiuxiao Academy. You, inside Jiuxiao Academy. Have you heard? We invited a very good college to help this time, and the principal and others seem to be very competent this time. I've heard about it a long time ago, but I don't know which college it is from. No matter how awesome it is, can it be as awesome as our Jiuxiao Academy? That's definitely not the case, but I estimate that as long as 2 of the other 9 colleges in the top 10 of Jiuxiao Shanghai come to us, no, just 1 to come, our pressure will be much less. Yeah, these stupid inhumans and insects, I really want to kill them. Who says it's not, but I'm also very happy. I heard that 27 trillion people died this time on the insect race. Ha ha ha, I'm both dead. Tong Huang. The brilliant Tianjiao Su Tianjiao is awesome. This bunch of evil students from Jiuxiao Academy are all gossiping. During this time, they were really distressed. These damn insectoids are as if their ancestors' graves were dug up. It would be crazy to fight them. Originally this was nothing, and they were not vain. However, it has always been a 3-party battle situation, but the Inhumans suddenly took advantage of the situation and sided with the insects, which made them uncomfortable. During the 363 period, many classmates died. Good thing. This time the school started shaking people. Judging from the confidence of the principal and others, the person who came here seems to be quite fishy. He seemed very confident. This made these talented students very curious. Which college can be stronger than their Jiuxiao college? How can the principal and others be so confident? Could it be that the talented student who is also ranked number 1 was invited by Shanghai next door? It shouldn't be possible, there simply isn't enough time. What's more, their war at this level would not involve such a big fight. Or is it the Taiku Galaxy training camp? Not possible either. Because this year's Taiku Galaxy training camp hasn't started yet. As for Zian, they didn't think about him either. Because in everyone's subconscious reaction, Zian, including his brilliant fleet, those are the people at the top of the pyramid who have already left their level. How is it possible to hang out with these academy students? One by one, that is called curiosity. But curiosity is curiosity. In order to ensure that the news was not leaked, Zian was ambushed by the enemy's super strong man. It is impossible to inform them of this kind of thing in advance. Lin Jiaotai is one of the most outstanding geniuses of the Lininarian clan. The Linin alien tribe is one of the main ethnic groups of the alien tribe. The Inhumans are different from the insects. The insect race is divided into 3 imperial families, 10 royal families, and 100 royal families. The Inhumans only have a master group and a servant group. The main group is unusually rare. The vast majority of the Inhumans are composed of servants. The main task of the servant group is to defend the power of the master group. The Inhumans have a small number of main groups, so they can control an extremely large number of slave groups. On the one hand, the class control that has been practiced for countless years has long formed a habit. The most important thing is definitely the strength of the main ethnic group. For example, this Linin alien race. It is one of the main groups that is very, very powerful. Linin is a kind of metal treasure of heaven and earth. The quantity is extremely rare and the grade is very high, so naturally it is extremely precious. Linin is all controlled by the Linin alien race. As for the Linin aliens, they have used their physical bodies to undergo a special kind of strengthening and fusion with Linin since they were young. The characteristics of the Linin Inhumans are strong defense, fast speed, high toughness, and excellent attack power. He is very mediocre, but his strength is definitely extraordinary. Very strong and very difficult. There is almost no such thing as any weakness. Lin Jiaotai is the unparalleled genius of the Lininarian clan. Ranked 287th. Intermediate deep spaceship captain. List of geniuses, because the age is relaxed to 1,000 years. As long as you are under 1,000 years old, as long as you are a peerless genius, you can be on the list. And the peerless genius can reach 1,000 years old. Basically, it is very powerful. Therefore, the higher the ranking, the actual ranking is very small, and the levels will be very different from each other. For example, 290 to 299 bits. All are battleship captains. After 300 people, they are all cruiser captains. And 299 is only a dozen rankings away from 287. Nanjia is just a battleship captain. Lin Jiaotai is already the captain of the deep space ship. The higher the ranking, the greater the level gap. Zian wants to get the ranking of this big devil. In fact, there is still a long way to go. At least, only by attaining the rank of void ship captain can we have such a chance. Yes, void ship captain level. Only then can he possibly win the title of the Great Demon King on the prodigy list. At this time, Lin Jiaotai was looking at all the information related to Zian seriously. He looked at it very carefully, including a series of videos of Zian fighting with others. Lin Jiaotai read it over and over again, his expression becoming more and more solemn. It is absolutely impossible for Zian's battle video not to be exposed. Because even if you don't take pictures, the enemy will take pictures and expose them. Therefore, Zian's battle videos can be found easily. After watching Zian's last video and the performance of the brilliant fleet this time, Lin Jiaotai fell silent. After a long silence, I made a decision directly. The decision is simple. If so, Zian would still be the cruiser captain. He will definitely try his best to kill Zian. If Zian had broken through to the battleship captain, he would turn around and leave without hesitation. Absolutely without a trace of nostalgia. After watching these videos of Zian, he had to admit one thing. His Star Wars strength is not as good as Zian. This is enough. That's reason enough to back off. Zian has broken through to the battleship, and his combat effectiveness will be even stronger. He considers himself not weak. He is also the captain of the deep space ship. But there is absolutely no guarantee of victory. He wouldn't be stupid enough to risk his own life. If Zian is the cruiser captain, then he will kill him. And very confident. Look at Zian's information. However, he didn't pay any attention to Jiuxiao Academy's plan this time. It is not difficult at all to destroy a Jiuxiao Academy. Because he is invincible. As long as those strong men from Jiuxiao Academy are killed, the rest will be meat on the chopping board. Let it be slaughtered. The other end. The people from the insect-human tribe also began to gather. Wait until everyone is assembled. The insects immediately rushed to the front line. Attract students from Jiuxiao Academy to come out. As for the people they win over, they hide them first. Wait until later and then wipe out all the Jiuxiao Academy. After killing the Jiuxiao students, they also plan to take this opportunity to kill the old enemies of the Inhumans. Anyway, the plan is pretty good. In fact, they had just appeared for a while. The Jiuxiao Academy students on the human race side of the universe came towards them one by one with murderous intent. The Inhumans also began to appear. Same as before. He won't attack the human race with all his strength, but he will favor the insect race. While preserving your own strength as much as possible, follow the insects and fight the humans together. The first contact was less than half an hour ago. On the Jiuxiao Academy side, more than 30 starships were lost, and 9 people died on the spot. The intensity of the battle is unimaginable. The main reason is that the insects are too desperate. It's like he has rabies. 3.9 However, what will scare the students of Jiuxiao Academy even more is yet to come. Do not know when. A large group of enemies appeared behind them. Over there with the Inhumans, a deep spaceship captain also suddenly appeared, and the super strong people on the human race haven't stopped it yet. To know Under normal circumstances, deep spaceship captains are strong men who have already exceeded the age limit, or they are school leaders, or the like. The human race has no organization, so the human race would not let him come. Just one thing dash. The captain of this deep spaceship is a super genius within the age limit. And, no surprises. He should be a peerless genius. He has just entered. Less than 2 minutes, just like destroying the dead, killing a group of people. Behind. There are even more insect-human enemies surrounding them. This moment. All the students of Jiuxiao Academy broke out in a cold sweat. Despair. It instantly enveloped everyone's mind. Chu Tiange pursed her red lips tightly, even though her pigeon number was dilapidated and she looked very embarrassed. But she remained silent and tried her best to replenish the shells consumed by her teammates and repair their damaged hulls. He didn't even take care of his own ship. Only. Seeing more and more enemies gathering around her, her bright eyes gradually dimmed. In particular, she serves as a support ship. And he is also called the strongest support ship genius of the Jiuxiao Xinghai generation. Although she was the strongest, after Bai Xiaodu from the brilliant fleet appeared, it was mercilessly taken away by Bai Xiaoyuan. But there is one thing to say. As the second one, she still has no problem. He is also the #1 genius of Jiuxiao Academy. A top-notch, monster-level super genius. But don't think that there are fewer monster-level geniuses. With such a huge population base in the interstellar era of the universe, the Earth Federation only has a few monster-level geniuses. Compared with the population base, it is very small, and Chu Tiange can win the title of the first genius of Jiuxiao Xinghai as the captain of the support ship. You can imagine how powerful she is. However, no matter how powerful 11 is, after all, it is just a support ship. It doesn't have much fighting power. In addition, there are too many enemies and they are too powerful. There is no way to recover. Especially when the genius who saw the captain of the inhuman deep spaceship noticed her and came towards her. Chu Tiange bit his lip and remained silent. But those bright eyes became increasingly dim. She knows, this time. She was probably doomed. Tiangu, his target is you. We can't stop him. Hurry up. The anxious shouts of teammates rang out from the communicator. However, the other party hasn't finished speaking yet. The opponent's starship was killed by the deep spaceship with one shot. Even people. They were all blown to pieces. The difference in strength between the two sides is too huge. So much so that there was no chance of even surviving. Ordinary evildoers and peerless geniuses are like a chasm that cannot be crossed. What's more, the starship levels of both sides are not at the same level at all. Xiaoku. Chu Tiange's dazzlingly white, jade-smooth, and tender cheeks suddenly changed, and his voice was full of sorrow and anger. However. Run. Haven, you run first, we'll stop you. You are the most powerful genius in our academy, don't let it get lost here, run away. One by one, teammates bravely stepped forward. He stood in front of Chu Tiange without fear of death. However, the gap between the two sides is really too big. One after another, teammates, right in front of Chu Tiange, were easily blown away by the opponent's behemoth, which seemed to be unshakable. Chu Tiange was angry, sad, and powerless. There had never been a moment when she was filled with such powerlessness. The opponent's deep spaceship was like a mountain that could never be shaken, bringing her endless despair. Am I going to die? Looking at the several shells fired by the opponent, Chu Tiange calmed down instead. Those beautiful eyes stared at the deep spaceship with hatred and hatred, wishing to tear out its muscles and bones. But she knew. Other than that, there was nothing she could do. She herself was about to die. Just when she was ready to face death unwillingly with anger and hatred. Suddenly. Swish swish dash. Several rounds of artillery shells came out of nowhere, with unparalleled speed and frightening accuracy. They intercepted all the artillery shells that hit her cockpit and detonated them in the air. Chu Tiange was slightly startled. But the next second, a huge, cool, and ferocious battleship appeared at an extremely fast speed, and then stopped suddenly at an extremely fast speed. It should not be said, but just talking about the performance of this starship's engine, as well as the toughness of the starship's keel and hull, Chu Tiange was stunned for a moment. To know this sharp deceleration at ultra-fast speeds means that the larger the starship, the higher the requirements for the toughness and rigidity of the starship's keel and hull. And the engine must be powerful enough. To put it simply, this engine, it's the difference between a van and a supercar. Of course, now is not the time to marvel at this. Gaze intently. I don't know when starships appeared nearby at the same time. There are 3 battleships and 5 cruisers in total. Battleship? Chu Tiange was a little confused. As the #1 genius in Jiuxiao Academy, she is only an 8th level cruiser now. Although she could level up to 9 immediately and could break through to the battleship at any time, she obviously didn't want to break through alone. And those who can participate in the battle at this time, there is no doubt that they must be of the same age, at least not much different in age. Otherwise, the battleship captains who are over the age limit would not dare to participate in the fight between their geniuses. The consequences of breaking the rules are dire. Battleships of the same age. Needless to say, you know that the other party is at least a genius on the same level as yourself, even a genius level. Turn around and look again. Around. A large number of starships appeared. Although the number is not very large, the combat experience is not low. At least it can barely stabilize the current situation. Although it may not be possible to win in the end, after all, the difference in numbers between the two sides is too large. But at least it can give them a breath of relief. But it can't last long. Because of this group of people, except for the small teen that rescued me, the rest, not very strong. It can even be said to be weak, because there is even a frigate captain. At this time, she finally remembered that she also had reinforcements. What confused her was sea level battlefield, human race side. Their Jiuxiao Academy is the most powerful. Where did this group of geniuses come from? And the level gap between them is too big, right? All this only happened in an instant. The ones who rescued Chu Tiange were naturally Zian and his party. The reason why Chu Tiange was saved, it's just a casual matter. Zian. It's heading straight for the Inhumans' deep space ship. Chu Tiange happened to be attacked by the opponent, and Zian saved him easily, that's all. At this time, the bright number is inside. Zian kept giving orders. Taj, Taimei, pay attention to defense. Xiaoyuan, pay attention to supplies. Qiqi, Fuyue, suppress them directly. Xiaomi, Haitang, surround him, I must not let him escape. Good guy, I thought it was just a small mission. I never thought a big fish would pop out. This guy is definitely at the level of a peerless genius. As for who it is, we can't be sure at the moment, but 9 times out of 10, it should be Lin Zhaotai from 093. Today, we must win it for him. In a sea of stars, there are only so many peerless geniuses. Of course, I'm talking about their generation. There are also the geniuses of the previous generation and the geniuses of the previous generation. Basically, the total number of peerless geniuses in a sea of stars, accumulated over the years, is still very large. For example, some superpowers above the captains of vertical starships are basically the kind of top geniuses who started out. And among Zian and his generation, they are the most talented people. Barbarous Liu and Nan Ji were also killed by him, just one Babalutru and Lin Zhaotai. It is impossible for Babalutru. If it were him, he would definitely look for him as soon as possible, instead of coming here to fight against Jiuxiao Academy. Then there is only one possibility left, Lin Zhaotai. Of course, it is also possible that he is a peerless genius from other star seas, but it is unlikely. The girls naturally had no objections. Start executing Zian's orders without hesitation. Miao Xiaomi and Haitang immediately surrounded each other. Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue immediately launched the most ferocious firepower to suppress the opponent. The reason for letting them go together is very simple. Su Zian doesn't want Lin Zhaotai to run away. As for the evolutionary value of killing him, to be honest, with Su Zian's current reserve of evolution points, he doesn't really care. As for Su Zian, there was no hesitation. Directly overlapping the multidimensional space starships, the two overall battleships have reached the orange epic quality of the brilliant. The first time, do the overlap. Also the first time, official battle. Unimaginable. Such a brilliant number. After all, how tyrannical has it become? If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic, original. The students of Jiuxiao Academy are already in despair. Even the freshmen and sophomores are ready to go to the battlefield. If the school's senior officials hadn't forced them to come up, I'm afraid they have already rushed up. But just when they looked around, they saw enemies everywhere. In their communicators. Unexpectedly, a series of voices sounded. The Lone Wolf team of Shenzhou Academy is here to support, brothers and sisters of Jiuxiao Academy, hold on. Ha ha ha, there are so many inhuman and insect geniuses, I can kill them all. The Shenzhou Academy Condor team is here. F***K them. F***K them to death. Follow Brother Su to fight monsters. Dig trenches, deep spaceships? Are you kidding me? Damn, this is definitely a genius who has not escaped. Haha, is it possible that there needs to be another spot in Brother Su's kill record? That's necessary. Who is our Principal Su? The pride of the human race. The hero of the human race. Voices one after another kept ringing in the communicators of the students at Jiuxiao Academy. Hearing their voices, strong hope suddenly emerged in their hearts. However, at the same time, what also puzzled them was, which school in Jiuxiao Xinghai is the Shenzhou University? Why haven't they heard of it? Besides, who is Brother Su? Why did you call Brother Su and Principal Su? Also, why are they so excited when they see the peerless talent? What's on Brother Su's kill record? Hiss. Wait. Sudden. All the students seemed to have come to their senses and understood something. F***K. 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 It's Su Zian. The brilliant Tianjiao Su Zian. Su Tianjiao is here. Ha ha ha, now we are saved, now we are saved. What are you farting at? Ha ha ha, Su Tianjiao is here, how can we be saved? We can obviously kill the opponent. So our principal has been holding back such a big move? It's okay now. Let me kill everyone. Don't lose face in front of Su Tianjiao. Don't lose face in front of the students from Shenzhou University. Shenzhou University? Hiss. Now that I think about it, Su Tianjiao seems to be a student of this Shenzhou University. Shit, I just realized it. Su Tianjiao seems to be a junior this year? Awesome, really awesome. As expected of Su Tianjiao is the one who can kill 2 generations of Tianjiao. The students of Jiuxiao Academy were suddenly excited. He glanced around and immediately fixed his gaze on Chu Tianga. To be precise, Chu Tianga has already fought with the inhuman deep space ship, and in just one breath, Lin Zhaotai's deep spaceship was crippled on the brilliance. Brilliant fleet. Brilliant number. It must be, the date is set, there is only the brilliant number, and there is only Su Tianjiao. Only then, can you, as a battleship captain, suppress the deep spaceship captain, who is also a peerless genius. Inside the pigeon. Chu Tianga at this moment. Already stunned. The bright eyes were wide open and the mouth was wide open. Looking at the battle ahead in disbelief. The deep spaceship brought her endless pressure and made her feel powerless and full of despair. In front of this fleet, they are like fish on a chopping board, ready to be slaughtered. Just a meeting. It's really just a meeting. He blew up several of the opponent's main guns and half of the opponent's engine. Needless to say, the energy shield was instantly shattered. The hull defense has suffered a small amount of damage. Instantly one-sided. Especially the battleship that saved him. It's like God descending from heaven. As a battleship captain, he beat the opponent's deep space ship until he couldn't even lift his head. The main gun and engine that were blown up were caused by this battleship. Its accuracy is astounding. She was stunned. As a top evil genius, she never thought about monsters and these geniuses. The gap can reach such an extent. Along with the conversation in the communicator, Chu Tiange suddenly felt a sense of enlightenment. The dazzling genius Zian. No wonder. Turn out to be. It was him who saved him. It's him. That's understandable. As one of Zian's super little fans, the worship of Zian can be said to be the ultimate. Even the night lighting system when she sleeps. They are all virtual projections of Zian. The screen base map of the optical brainwatch, it's also Zian's dynamic picture. At this time, looking at his idol, pressing this damn deep spaceship to the ground and blasting it, Chu Tiange suddenly felt the pleasure of getting revenge. The peerless grace made her even fascinated by it. The other party is also a genius. And he is also the captain of a deep spaceship. However, his performance in Star Wars was more than a little different from Zian's. Zian's agility, anticipation, precision, experience, etc. They are far superior to each other. Only at the end of the second round, the other party started to run away like crazy. Looking at the other party, they are running away in a panic. Obviously, he was frightened to death by the terror of the brilliant fleet. Chu Tiange showed a comfortable smile. In fact, this is indeed the case. Lin Zhaotai is wantonly bullying the geniuses on the human race. He is the super devil on the battlefield, constantly killing the top geniuses on the human race. The appearance of the brilliant fleet. He should have noticed it too. But it only aroused part of his interest, and he didn't think much about it. After all, it's just a battleship, not worthy of his too much attention. As long as it's not the brilliant number. As for the brilliant number, he didn't think that the other party happened to have Zhou appear here. I don't even think that the other party could break through again and break through to the battleship level in such a short period of time. According to information, the brilliance broke through to the cruiser, but it didn't take long. How long did it take before we broke through to the battleship? What's wrong, Zian? You don't have a bottleneck period? However, it's just the first round of combat. He was almost scared to death. Zian. Damn, it is Zian. Hold. Moreover, Zian's power exceeded his imagination and expectations. How to say, the feeling and pressure Zian brought to him. It was very much like Chu Tiange was in front of him just now. So after the first round of fighting, he turned around and ran away without any hesitation. But before he officially started running, the second round came. This directly caused his starship battle damage to reach 57%. This time, he was really scared out of his mind. I can no longer care about my heartache. Crazy consumption of evolution points, crazy emergency repairs to the starship. Then I no longer have the heart to fight. He ran away as quickly as possible. Zian stared at him. How could he be allowed to escape? In itself, under the overlapping of multidimensional space starships, he can defeat the opponent by himself. Now we have the help of other girls. Naturally, there is no pressure anymore. Over there with the Inhumans. Apparently the situation here has also been discovered. The super strong man from the Inhuman race suddenly changed his face and roared, "It's Zian. It's the brilliant fleet. Everyone, send reinforcements to Lin Zhaotai immediately. Immediately. Immediately, whoever dies, can't die." As for the students from the alien school, all their expressions changed. There was no time to think about why Zian appeared here. There is no time to be shocked by why there is such a huge gap between them both. One by one, no longer caring about the other geniuses of the human race, they ran towards this direction like crazy. Unfortunately, Zhao Zhao is of no use. They haven't arrived yet. Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue immediately turned their guns. Used crazy firepower to suppress them. And the battleship Kraken, at this moment, it also fully demonstrated its true horror. 128 super main guns are fired at the same time. Can you imagine how terrifying its power is? Let's put it that way. After the two girls, Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue, were consumed in a wave, Haitong's Kraken, with its 128 main guns, directly destroyed 77 ships in one round. The rest are all relatively powerful ones. Meowth is here. One cannon and one ship, start harvesting like crazy. For a while, the battlefield was originally a one-sided situation. Just because of the appearance of the brilliant fleet, the form began to reverse. It is the power of a peerless genius. This is the terror of the Tianjiao fleet. And at this moment, husband. The one who regrets the most is Lin Zhaotai. Because he had sent out his genius fleet because of his confidence before. There was no time to support. A kind of despair that originally belonged to the human race. In an instant, it enveloped his mind. Relax and wait for them to come. Zian gave the order. The girls immediately opened up a gap in the heavily defended area. The corner of Zian's mouth showed an extremely cold smile. That smile was somewhat cruel. Originally, he planned to deal with Lin Zhaotai as quickly as possible. Because I don't want him to escape. However, after the battle, I suddenly discovered. This Lin Zhaotai seems to be weaker than he thought. No. To be more precise, Lin Zhaotai is actually not weak at all, it's just because the brilliant ship and the brilliant fleet are too powerful. It was so powerful that it exceeded Zian's own imagination. As long as those super strong people don't end up. As long as the other party doesn't have a peerless genius coming back. So this Lin Zhaotai is the fish on the chopping board. It was impossible to escape. Especially after blowing up all the engines of his starship. It was even more impossible to escape. Zian suddenly had a whim. Using Lin Zhaotai as bait, he lured these geniuses from the inhuman race to come forward one after another, just like Calabash Baby, to save his grandfather. Send them food. After all, no matter how many people come here, we are not afraid. As long as it does not exceed a certain limit, Taiha Taimei can hold on. So it's basically like shooting a starship with one shot. If a certain starship exceeds the second cannonball, it counts as Zian is a bad guy. Only Lin Zhaotai would make Zian more cautious. The remaining, including Lin Zhaotai's Tianjiao fleet teammates, everyone can fight. Then, Zian's offensive intensity suddenly weakened. Specially attack Lin Zhaotai's main gun 713 and engine. Blow up the engine to prevent escape. The main gun must be destroyed because the opponent's main gun is quite a deterrent. After all, it is the main gun of the deep space ship. Lin Zhaotai couldn't escape, so he was locked in this cage and used as his bait. As expected, the girls released the defensive circle and only intercepted Empress Lin Zhaotai. The geniuses of the Inhumans, under the command of their strong men, came one by one. The Tianjiao fleet, including Lin Zhaotai, is flying towards this direction like crazy. Zian grinned. The muzzle is turned. Start firing at them like crazy. No matter what class of cruiser it is. No surprises. One gun and one ship. As for the trashier destroyers or even assault ships, simpler. No main gun is needed. It's just a secondary gun, but it's also a gun for one ship. The enemies are lining up to come. Zian and the other girls, harvesting one by one. Massive evolution values, crazy influx. So much money. Really profitable. Xiaoyuan's supply drone was almost dry and smoking. I'm too busy to be busy. The two daughters, Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue, are wealthy families who consume artillery shells. One round of consumption has already occupied nearly 80% of Xiaoyuan's supply capacity. Now, there is another big consumer, like Haitang. The 128 main guns are definitely not a joke. The consumption of shells is second only to Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue. There is also Zian. Too busy at all. Xiaoyuan's biological energy is consumed crazily. No, please slow down, I'm too busy here. Xiaoyuan's anxious voice sounded through the communicator. Everyone in excitement froze in their movements, but just when everyone is thinking about whether the output should be restrained. After all, even if you are playing online games and the magician's blue can't keep up, it's all in vain. Of course, it's also because Baishanya's birdie is only a cruiser-level support ship. If it were a battleship, this problem would not exist. But at this time, suddenly, Yin's supply drones appeared one after another. Quickly replenish various ammunition supplies for everyone. Everyone was startled. They all turned to look. But they found that a cruiser flew back at some point, if I remember correctly. It seems that the cruiser left quickly after being rescued by them, or rather after being rescued by Zian. Hello. I see that you are running out of food very quickly, and you are too busy. I just ran to empty out all the artillery shell reserves and replaced them with artillery shell models that you can use. I hope I can help you. Don't worry, I'm definitely not here to take advantage of your evolution points. Chu Tianga's very pleasant and slightly excited voice sounded in everyone's communicator. After talking about it, I quickly explained. If the support ship provides support, a certain amount of evolution points will be allocated based on the level of your support. Her behavior, if not explained, can easily cause misunderstandings. Zian burst out laughing. It doesn't matter, just rub it. Then the relationship is better. With your support, we can let go. Taimei, you two should protect her. Then, this classmate, you don't have to worry about anything, just supply us with ammunition. Chu Tianga suddenly became happy and nodded in response. Yeah. Don't worry, I will definitely supply it. Taimei said loudly, it's okay, you don't have to be afraid. As long as we are here, if a cannonball hits you, we will lose. Taj didn't speak, she became even more taciturn. But he is absolutely unambiguous in his work, just like a worker bee. Chu Tianga, BBCC, absolutely believes in what Taimei said. From the beginning to now, the terrifying defense and interception abilities of Taimei and Taiji have made everyone look stupid. Naturally, I feel very relieved. Immediately, they began to make every effort to replenish ammunition for the Pro fleet. Ammunition comes in many different models and types. Different calibers and different types naturally cannot be used universally. So Chu Tianga just observed carefully and emptied all the ammunition she had stored. Because the caliber and type of ammunition she brought were not applicable at all. Now that most of them fit together, with her joining, I can barely let go. The reason why it was forced was because Chu Tianga was not the exclusive support ship of the Brilliant Fleet. It is not clear at all the specific model of the Brilliant Fleet's artillery shells. Some types of artillery shells. For example, no one in the Brilliant Fleet uses high-speed warheads. But it doesn't matter, as long as I can barely keep up. This time, you can really let go. The ferocious firepower once again covered it with all its strength. A starship. No matter what level it is. In front of the dazzling fleet, they all seemed like paper. There is no barrier. There is no defense. No matter how they dodge. The artillery shells of the Brilliant Fleet, especially Su Lian's artillery shells. It's like unlocking a plug-in. One shot after another, they all rushed towards their cockpit and hit them. The terrifying power of the cannonballs directly blew up their entire starship. As for Lin Zhaotai's starship, Su Zian has no intention of killing him now. After killing Lin Zhaotai's main gun and engine, ignore him. Target the other enemy with all your strength. After a while, Lin Zhaotai's starship, with the repair of the evolution value, the main gun and engine became functional again. Su Zian's cannonball seemed to have hit the right time and shattered it again. All of these, until the Tianjiao fleet under Lin Zhaotai finally arrived to support. But in front of the brilliant fleet and Su Zian, they still didn't put up much resistance, and were blown up one by one. Lin Zhaotai finally understood Su Zian's plan and intention. Seeing his teammates being blown up one by one in front of him, he was completely powerless. Then he looked at his own people, who came one after another and died one after another because they wanted to save themselves. Lin Zhaotai's eyes were red, and rage filled his heart. He hissed, "Don't come here again. Get out. Get out of here. Damn, Su Zian, he just used me as bait to lure you to come and save me. Don't come to save me again. Ja. It's of no use." Under the orders of the super powerful people above, they did not dare to disobey. What's more, now that his eyes are red, why should he care about this? Seeing these people dying one by one, they provided Su Zian and the brilliant fleet with massive evolutionary values. Especially when he tried his best to dodge, but his main gun and engine were still ruthlessly destroyed by Su Zian. This moment, he just collapsed. His mentality completely disappeared. Go to NM. Su Zian, I will fight with you. You deserve to die. The god of metal will never let you go. Absolutely not. Roared. He completely lost his mind. After using up the last remaining evolution value, he quickly repaired the engine. He rushed towards Su Zian like crazy. Look at that. It is to use the starship to collide with Su Zian's starship and die together with Su Zian. It's of no use. Still halfway there. Su Zian saw that it was almost done. Just shoot right over. Lin Zhaotai was taken into the cockpit and beaten into scum. Lin Zhaotai died instantly. Lin Zhaotai, a genius of a generation. That's it. Became Su Zian's subordinate. The dead soul of the third unparalleled genius, accompanied by the death of Lin Zhaotai and his Tianjiao fleet. All the remaining inhuman and Zerg geniuses. Suddenly he was like a chicken or a dog. The brilliance and the brilliant fleet, plus the hurried pigeon, transformed into the devil on the battlefield, specializing in catching those destroyers and cruisers and killing them. The reason is simple. There are only a few battleships. Those who can break through to the battleship as a student either have opportunities or are lucky. For example, I participated in training at the Taiku Galaxy training camp, or it's the ordinary genius level. There are not many top-level monsters, most of them are just ordinary monsters. So most of them are just cruisers and destroyers. Destroyers accounted for the largest number, followed by assault ships. Assault ships were students in their third year of college. Finally comes the cruiser. Su Zian will not care about the assault ship. The destroyer is just a casual thing, or it is the target of the girls. For all the girls, those destroyers can also be killed instantly. The cruiser is Su Zian's main target. Kill them all one by one, although the evolution value of the cruiser is nothing to him today. But I can't stand Huangda. Su Zian, completely having fun on the battlefield. Normally, the enemy is several times more numerous than our own. Moreover, because the overall strength of Shenzhou Academy is indeed not up to the level of these top experts. But number of people is sometimes useless. Cutting-edge combat power can sometimes truly determine the outcome of a war. When all our own battleships were destroyed, the cruisers were escaping like lost dogs, and the destroyers didn't even have time to escape. No matter how many people there were, they were immediately at a disadvantage. When the first person starts to run away, The remaining people immediately dispersed like birds and beasts. Even if the top brass of their school had their voices hoarse, it would be of no use. No one listens to their orders anymore. In the despair of knowing that you will die, nothing is of any use. A large number of starships still fled in all directions, and their escape finally gave the students of Jiuxiao Academy and Shenzhou Academy the possibility of counterattack. If they continue to unite, no matter how terrifying Zian and the brilliant fleet are, since there is only one brilliant fleet, how many more can they kill? In the end, if we stick together, we will be able to escape safely. But now, people's hearts are completely broken and morale is completely gone. It will only exacerbate their death. This time, at least 70% of the people will die here. Even if they outnumber us. To no avail. If they all think about escaping, they will naturally die faster and faster. In fact, the death toll of the Inhumans and bugs ultimately exceeded everyone's expectations. It is really. The dazzling fleet's lethality is really, really terrifying. And it's the kind of large-scale destruction. Under the fierce firepower, hundreds of starships will be destroyed in one round. How to play this? In the end, if the support could not keep up, even the ammunition reserves of Bai Xiaoyuan and Chu Tiange would be exhausted, and the biological energy of the girls would not be able to keep up. This was an almost one-sided massacre, a huge reversal of war from the beginning to the end. It is finally over. The human race of the universe. The number of starships lost is 3,195. Among them, the number of deaths was only 621. The reason why there is such a death ratio is because of the moment of escape. The geniuses of the Inhumans and insects who destroyed the human starships. There's no time for last-ditch blows. Under the protection of space armor, most of them were not in the cockpit that was hit. Naturally, the ratio of death toll and starship loss is quite disparate. On the other hand, look at the Inhumans and insects. It's unclear how many of them died. But the prediction is based on preliminary estimates and the number of wreckage at the site. Their death toll is definitely no less than 80%. This death toll may be nothing compared to other battlefields. After all, those battlefields, with millions or tens of millions of personnel invested, can only be regarded as small and medium-sized local wars. One death may result in hundreds of thousands, millions, or tens of millions of people dying. The number of their deaths is not worth mentioning at all. But if the person who dies is a genius, that's completely different. Anyway, when this war reaches its later stages, Zian could clearly feel dozens of terrifying pressures and furious murderous intent locked on him. It seemed like he would do something to himself in the next second, if General Mu, as well as the defenders of some of our own war zones, had not appeared on the scene immediately and expressed their attitude. Zian is really not sure whether these people will attack him regardless of the unspoken rules. Because I'm afraid they really feel that they can't stay, even if they break the rules. Good thing. In the end, their sense prevailed. Although he does have huge potential, he is not huge yet. It would allow them to exchange hundreds of peerless geniuses for just one of them. There is no way that their unrivaled talent will never go to the battlefield in this life, right? Will you stay behind them for the rest of your life? If this is the case, their genius will be useless. It is impossible for a genius who has never been on the battlefield to be that strong. And as long as you go to the battlefield, you will face the super strong people of the human race who will kill you without hesitation. Kill at all costs. In the end, it just turned into a cold sound. The cold snort was full of gloomy murderous intent and monstrous anger. It's not hard to imagine. After this time, he is on their must-kill list, his position must be higher. Asking for flowers. But it doesn't matter. It's already on the must-kill list anyway, so it doesn't make any difference whether it's in the front or the back. The human race once again won a great victory. Just 1 month. 2 consecutive victories, the human race was cheering. And these 2 were resounding victories. All because of Su Zian, all because of the brilliant fleet he led. If it hadn't been for him, let alone winning these 2 times, it would have been enough to remain undefeated. Especially this time. Our own genius is in danger. In the end, Su Zian is like a god descending from the sky, turning danger into safety, turning the tide, and turning defeat into victory. In the rear area, countless media headlines and even special pages frantically reported on the glorious deeds of Su Zian and the brilliant fleet. In particular, Su Zian. Su Zian, the radiant genius of the human race and their universe. Once again, he killed the unparalleled genius who thought he was his enemy. This time, it's from the inhuman race. Ranked higher. The stronger one. Number 287 Lin Jiaotai, and as shown in the video, Su Zian is already a battleship captain. Beating him is as easy as beating your king grandson. It was killed without any effort. It's so powerful that it's shocking. And there are no surprises. Su Zian's ranking on the list of geniuses rose again. Replaced the original Lin Jiaotai and ranked 28th. Don't look at it, it just improved a dozen places. But at this ranking position, even if it's just to improve 1 rank, its difficulty is like a natural chasm. How to improve your ranking on the Tianjiao list? Very simple. Cultivation level, or achievement. The level of cultivation is easy to understand. But it is not a hard condition. It mainly depends on what you do, that is, your achievements. You performed extremely well in a certain battle. Then there is a certain possibility that your ranking will rise by that level. Of course, the easiest way is to kill those ranked higher than you. But obviously, this is undoubtedly very difficult. Except for the freak Su Zian. First of all, the number of peerless geniuses is rare. If you want to kill someone, can you do it? The greater possibility is that someone will kill you. So, ranking on the Tianjiao list is improving extremely slowly. Like Su Zian, he jumps once every 3 days, and he gets several or even dozens of rankings in one jump. It's so off the mark. For a while. The name of Su Zian. Once again, it spread to every corner of the universe. No one knows. No one knows. The name of Su Zian, the brilliant genius. Known by countless people. Certainly. He is also hated by countless people, inside Jiuxiao Academy. After a moment of mourning. Soon it was a moment of jubilation, for everyone. This is a common occurrence for Jiuxiao Academy, whose academy is built on a battlefield. Even in normal wars in the past, the death toll may have been more than this. Everyone has long been accustomed to parting in death. But today, there is nothing but mourning. They were more cheering and excited. Cheers for this great victory and gained a lot of evolution points. Excited for the arrival of Su Zian and his brilliant fleet. Too strong. It's so powerful, as expected of being ranked 299th. No. He should be the unparalleled genius of 287. This is the only thought of all the students. In the cafeteria. Today was a huge orgy. All principals from both schools came to hold this celebration banquet. Su Zian. Naturally, the principal, vice principal, and the others were seated at the table. The reason is simple. It's not just Su Zian's identity. Zero Chisan in addition, he is also the vice president of China University. He definitely has the qualifications. Gu Qingzhan was smiling so hard that his eyes were no longer eyes, and his mouth was no longer his mouth. The triumph on his face can be clearly seen by any fool. Especially, whenever the principal and vice principal of Jiuxiao College look at Su Zian with greedy eyes, and they look at Gu Qingzhan with envy and jealousy. It made Gu Qingzhan feel happy even more. Very cool. It's really cool. As for Qin Fuyue's daughters, it's a separate table. In addition, Zhang Wushuang also sat over, accompanied by a female vice principal from Jiuxiao College. In the cafeteria. Countless glances turned towards Zian. Especially the girls, all looking at Zian, wanted to eat him alive. If they weren't worried about the principal, they would. Or if it wasn't for the fact that Zian had so many beauties around him and felt inferior. I'm afraid they've already gotten together. In this day and age. But there is no such thing as male rights and female rights. There are also many strong women. There are also many heroines from the human race in the universe. After all, this is Star Wars, and the difference in genetic combination between men and women has no difference in strength. But at this time, a beautiful figure walked straight towards Zian. He turned a blind eye to the surrounding eyes. Everyone's eyes were attracted to her. Zian and others are no exception. Looking towards her, Zian's eyebrows jumped slightly. But it soon calmed down. Although this woman is also a beauty who is not inferior to Qin Fuyue and other women, Zian is by no means the kind of person who can't walk when he sees a beautiful woman. What made him even more curious was what the other party wanted to do with him. Hello Zian, my name is Chu Tianga. Chu Tianga stared at Zian with his bright eyes, and his voice was clear. Zian seemed to feel that there was something familiar about this voice. After thinking about it, he suddenly realized, I understand. Are you the support cruiser? Chu Tianga seemed very happy. Zian recognized his own voice and nodded repeatedly, that's right. That's me, that's me. Zian chuckled, nodded, and said, your strength is quite good. It was a great help to us. But what do you want from me? Chu Tianga said very simply and calmly, I want to apply to join your dazzling fleet. Zian smiled, if you want to join my fleet, you can't join casually. You must be able to endure hardship and absolutely obey any of my orders unconditionally. Even if I ask you to die right now, can you do it? As he said that, Zian looked at the girls here with curiosity and pursed his lips, they can do it without hesitation. Chu Tianga immediately nodded heavily and said loudly, I can. And I can endure hardship too. If you think it's not okay, you can kick me out at any time. I can even be a non-staff member of the brilliant fleet first. Wait until you think I'm good enough and qualified enough to join you and become a formal member. After hearing what the other party said, Zian laughed, how do you say that? When drowsiness comes, come the pillow. In fact, after the little Yuan evolved into a battleship, its support capabilities could actually keep up. However, if the number of members of the brilliant fleet increases, that's hard to say. After all, in addition to herself, Taj and Taimei, there are a total of 6 starships that need to be replenished. Taj and Taimei will be repaired. Like this time. The little Yuan number is indeed not enough. But I want to find a suitable second support ship. It's not that simple. Zian's requirements are very high. Secondly, he didn't want to continue to spend time and money on training the latecomers like Bai Xiaoyuan. Money is small, time is big. Then the objects that can be selected have actually been reduced a lot. The most important thing is that in Zian's dazzling fleet, women are restricted. It's not that men can't do it, but if a male member suddenly appears in the brilliant fleet, Zian will feel uncomfortable. Then the scope is narrowed again. Originally, he was on the battlefield before. Zian was very satisfied with Chu Tianga. I was also thinking in my heart whether I should see if this Chu Tianga would join his dazzling fleet. Now, it was delivered to my door on its own initiative, and Zian had no reason to refuse. Without much hesitation, Zian nodded readily and said, that's no problem, you are welcome to join. But, what will you do with your studies now? Can the school arrange it? We'll be leaving soon. This time. The principal of Jiuxiao College, who had been watching with a smile, immediately answered, no problem. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the school. Tiangu is now in the 2nd semester of his 5th year and can join at any time. Principal of Jiuxiao College, I feel so happy. Zian, and Zian's brilliant fleet, he has studied it carefully. In the dazzling fleet, except Zian. Those girls were all top geniuses back then. And now? The first few who followed Zian have grown into ordinary geniuses. Look at this growth rate. Chu Tiange himself is a top evildoer. Follow Zian. I'm afraid that in the future, he will also be a genius. In the future, it may even be possible to hit the top geniuses. This is very helpful in improving the reputation of their school. Of course, he was even more pleased to see Chu Tiange join such an awesome fleet. The future of Chu Tiange is infinitely bright. When Chu Tiange saw that the principal had spoken for him, he nodded repeatedly, indicating that there was absolutely no problem. Zian nodded and said, "That's okay. We're leaving in about 3 hours. Can you handle your own affairs in 3 hours?" Chu Tiange nodded without hesitation, then turned and left directly. Obviously he went to deal with his own affairs. And as Chu Tiange left, Zian seemed to hear the broken hearts of a group of male students in the cafeteria. 5.4, their goddess. It's gone, gone. However, I could only shake my head, feeling disappointed. What else could happen? Are you going to fight with Zian? What a joke. Zian was also relatively happy at this time, and as for the girls, they were also very satisfied. They had personal experience of Chu Tiange's previous strength and help. The brilliant fleet has Chu Tiange joining the team, and Zian has specially evolved the starship for her. The strength of the brilliant fleet. There will be new changes once again. In other fleets, there are many people who don't even have a single support ship. There are 2 ships in the brilliant fleet. Nature is something to be happy about. After all, the small number of support ships is recognized by the universe. Because the support ship has no combat effectiveness, there are really very few people who want to be captains of support ships. And it's still so powerful. It is extremely rare. Of course. The survey investigates. This will certainly not change. The sun is blazing in the sky and the weather is 26 degrees. TC-998 battlefield, in a certain rear star system, on a certain habitable planet. This planet is a planet with many rivers and lakes. In the dense primitive jungle, towering trees, thousands of meters high, are very common. But I don't know what kind of tree it is. In the universe, there are as many varieties of plants as there are stars in the sky. Not to mention the towering trees that are thousands of meters high. The kind of plants that break out of the atmosphere are not very rare, because not all plants can only survive in normal environments. It is not uncommon for some plants to require extremely large amounts of light and evolve over countless years to break out of the atmosphere and absorb the light of stars directly outside the atmosphere. At this time, next to a huge lake in a primitive jungle on this planet, Qin Fuyue and other girls were lying leisurely on beach chairs. Drink delicious fruit drinks and enjoy delicious food. Looking at them, their beauty is so overwhelming that they can't even lift their heads from the beautiful scenery around them. Beside, Zian held a 9-meter hand pole and sat on a pony to catch fish leisurely. This is a rare moment of leisure. Today, 4 months have passed since the last war. The reason for taking a break today? Because of brilliant fleet. There are now 10 people in total. The battleship is already full. Zian is now at the tier 3 to 11 battleship level. And the 4 main guns of the Brilliance have been successfully equipped with double crossfire technology. Its attack power has reached an unimaginable height. Haitang and Taj are second-tier battleships. They have not yet adapted to the super-fast progress speed of the Brilliant Fleet, so their progress speed is slightly behind Zian. As for the other girls, just yesterday, they have completed the breakthrough from Tier 10 cruisers to battleships, including Chu Tiange. After 4 months of getting along, Chu Tiange has been completely accepted and recognized by Zian and the Brilliant Fleet. In the past 4 months, there has been almost no rest. Every day is either at war or on the way to war. The results achieved by the Brilliant Fleet have reached an extremely astonishing level. Let's put it that way. under the camouflage of plug-in and identity friend or faux identification camouflage technology. The dazzling fleet is like the ghost of the C-727-43 battlefield. No, it shouldn't be said to be a ghost, but death. It is so elusive that even the top experts on the battlefield who have been on guard against it are troubled by its traces. Not found. It really can't be found. But the brilliant fleet appears. The result will inevitably be a land filled with Yuan Hong. Because even the deep spaceships are not enough to look at in front of the brilliant fleet. Only star destroyers can truly pose a great threat to the brilliant fleet. But how many star destroyer level enemies can there be on a battlefield of this level? This is just a sea-level battlefield. Cruisers are the theme of sea-level battlefield. There are very few battleships left. Cruisers are the main strong ones, and assault ships and destroyers are the most common. There are also a lot of frigates. In such a case, there are not many starships that can withstand the sudden attack of the brilliant ship with its stern sticking out. Moreover, the brilliant fleet almost exclusively focuses on the enemy's headquarters and the enemy's geniuses. So that, in the second month, the enemy command headquarters will have at least one star destroyer dedicated to calming it down at all times. Even 2 ships. Just because once there was only one star destroyer guarding it. But the other party still did not detect the warning of the brilliant fleet in advance. This allowed the brilliant fleet to move over, kill the command post, and then escape in front of the star destroyer openly. The reason is simple. Star destroyers and brilliant fleets are hard to beat. However, it is also a dream for a star destroyer to defeat the brilliant fleet. As for genius, even more outrageous. Starting from the second month. Whether it's the geniuses from the Inhumans or the insects. Everyone huddled in their dens, not daring to show their heads at all. This makes the brilliant fleet become even more unscrupulous. With the elusive help of the brilliant fleet. Just 4 months. The human race of the universe has obtained huge fruits of victory. Finally, the Inhumans and the insects actually developed a tacit understanding and reached a temporary cooperation. Then a large number of strong men were mobilized from the rear. This suppressed the human attack. But even so, on the human side, huge gains too. According to incomplete statistics on the internet, the number of powerful cruisers that died in the hands of the brilliant fleet was at least 70,000. The battleship is no less powerful than the 500 guards. In addition, there are countless destroyers and assault ships. To put it simply, this is just 4 months. The evolution value earned by the brilliant fleet has reached an amount that is unimaginable to ordinary people. This is not just today. Brilliant fleet. The overall orange epic quality of all members has evolved to the battleship. The quality is exactly the same as Zian's brilliant number. No way. The more evolution points you have, the more arrogant you are. Zian now has enough evolution value to evolve the brilliance to the level of a deep spaceship with 100% overall golden legendary quality. Still 2 ships. But again, the current quality is more than enough. Improving quality is just to reach the peak combat power you can achieve. Now this quality is already there, there is really no need to increase it any further. Rather than improving quality for the sake of improving quality. Wouldn't it be nice to accumulate more evolution points? After the full battleship level. And they are all of overall orange epic quality. All major parts are of orange epic quality. Unimaginable. The overall combat effectiveness of the brilliant fleet is now astonishing. Not to mention Taiji's power has been obvious to all. The 2 daughters, Hu Qiqi and Qin Fuyue, are behind the battleship. The ferocity of its firepower is terrifying. Ultimate fire suppression, basically formed. The essential. Their starship main guns, secondary guns, and missile launch bays. All use the 2x2 crossfire technique. The technology of the 2-girl starship alone made Zian dizzy. No way. Too much. When Haitang evolved into a second-tier battleship, its main guns naturally adopted this technology. She pursues the ultimate killing, while Huchichi and Qin Fuyue pursue the ultimate quantity and rate of fire. Miao Xiaomi is still as fast as the wind, has elusive agility, and has high penetrating power. Finally, there are the two daughters, Bai Xiao and Chu Tianga. They need to say it emphatically, because they evolved into battleships. The importance to the brilliant fleet is too important. Bai Xiaoyuan is more powerful in terms of supplies and repairs. Therefore, the main direction of her evolution is supply and maintenance. The huge warehouse contains a large number of supply drones and maintenance drones, as well as massive ammunition reserves. The investigation gave way a little bit and came out. 527 Chu Tianga, the evolution direction is supply and reconnaissance, and maintenance has opened up many positions. Supplies are the most important thing. There is no doubt about this. Only with more supplies can the brilliant fleet have a longer combat endurance. As long as it's not super high intensity. Medium to high intensity battles can last for 7 or 10 days without any problems. After all, the two ships have the maximum length, width and height, and the starships themselves have certain reserves, so there is no problem. Chu Tianga's reconnaissance cabin, the number of reconnaissance stealth drones inside is terrifying. She is the main investigative force. When she was tired, she changed to Bai Xiaoyuan. In fact, it's not too bad. Anyway, two support ships combined. The help it can bring to the brilliant fleet will be huge. During this period of continuous fighting, the evolution just completed 20 days. Su Zian took the girls and prepared to have a good rest for the day. Relax and relax your tense nerves. Combining work and rest, teamwork is the right way. In fact, it has reached the battleship level. The breakthrough speed has obviously slowed down. It took 4 months to evolve from the first level to the third level. This is still Su Zian. Putting aside Haitang and Taj, the group evolved from the first level to the second level. The evolution difficulty is really not at the same level as before. Just thinking about this. Suddenly, Su Zian's eyes moved. Suddenly, the float in front of me suddenly turned black, and the float completely sank into the water. Su Zian had quick eyes and quick hands. He grabbed the fishing rod, lifted it up and stabbed the fish. Suddenly, an incomparable power came from the fishing rod, which could make even a powerful warrior like him feel huge power. Su Zian suddenly became excited. This fish. At least 2,000 pounds. There is fish to eat at night. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.